Hello, preschool peeps. Say hi, Allison.
Hi.
Allison and I are bringing you a very special episode ripped from the headlines. We have been receiving emails from listeners about potential school closings where they're listening due to the coronavirus. So we wanted to address what this means in as far as what we need to do for our students while school might be closed in this very unexpected way. Thankfully, due to the sponsorship of Joy Greenberg, wellness advocate for doTERRA products, we can bring you this episode. And I'll tell you what, Allison, with all this flu and this coronavirus, I'll try anything.
Yes.
I always use essential oils, but I use them even more now. So if you, our preschool peeps, are interested in looking into getting doTERRA essential oils at wholesale prices and some free oils from Joy for being a listener, go to our website, howpreschoolteachersdoit.com, click on sponsor offers, and follow the instructions there. But now it's time, Allison, to get started on this really serious topic. Stay tuned. Welcome to How Preschool Teachers Do It.
This is Allison Kentos. I am an early childhood educator.
And this is Cindy Tarabush. I am an early childhood consultant.
This podcast is for parents and early childhood professionals.
Let our experience and research-based knowledge become your guide. Hey, Allison. So I'm like thumb-freeing as I talk because I feel like this is something we weren't expecting to talk about, and so needed.
It is very needed but I will say very unexpected.
Yeah. Although with the emails that we've gotten from listeners, Allison and I have certainly had a chance to get our thoughts together.
Yeah.
And our understanding is that in many school systems, they're trying to decide how to operate during these days when schools might be closed to stop the contagion and still have those schools count. Am I right, Allison? Still have those days count?
Okay. Towards whatever you like. In the state Cindy and I live in, we have to do 180 days of school in the school districts. And I know in our state, they just recently last week said that if you do remote distance learning properly, the days will count. So I think schools are scrambling to try to figure out how they could achieve this, but there's a lot of challenges to it. So I know everyone on every level has been kind of stressed, trying to figure it all out so we could do what's best for the students. But yeah, I think we need to talk about it. It's new territory for everyone.
But having these pandemics are not such new territory. In my lifetime, let's see, I can remember H1N1, swine flu.
Oh, SARS.
SARS, swine flu.
Ebola.
You're right, Ebola. Yeah. There was another one. Wait,
avian flu.
Oh, yeah, remember that?
Yeah.
I think that with the advent of 24-hour-a-day news and social media, we hear a whole lot more about it. And one of the impacts of that is that school systems, I think they're just more aware, and they're thinking, what if we do have to close? This is spreading rapidly. There's no vaccine. There's no medication. Now for the flu, we have Tamiflu at least.
Right.
So, I sort of understand the need for preparedness. And when we're talking about young children, we're talking about a sudden and disruptive event in their lives. All of a sudden, their normal routine is not happening, and we don't quite know how long we'd be closed. Am I right, Allison?
That's correct, because right now they're saying it could be you could close for a day and just clean, or you might be closed for up to 4 weeks, maybe longer, depending on if the virus is in your area or not. So that's a long time.
That's a very long time in the life of a young child.
Yeah.
And they're going to have a really hard time coming back after that. So Allison and I have been thinking about how can we give people advice, and we've had to do it via email. How can we give people advice that helps the students stay connected to you? Because if we can maintain that connection And if school systems are saying, well, if we can do things well remotely, then we can count those days. I think we have to take advantage of that option and help to stay connected to the children.
Right.
Some of the advice that I've given via email is to use the technology that we have for videos. We need to harness this technology if we're not going to be with them.
Yeah.
You know, when I teach online college classes, I do videos of myself because I feel like it's important for the college students, even though they may be taking classes online, it's important for them to see me as a whole human being. Young children also still, it would give them great comfort and keep them connected to you to see you. Whatever technology you're using, you can video and save that video and send it to them. There's lots of ways. Skype is one of them.
Yes.
Allison, do you know any other ways to video and record and save it and send it?
Save and send? No, because I am not good at technology at all. I know.
Oh, it's all me.
There's something called Google Hangout, but I don't know how that works. But I know that's a way to send videos, or at least do a live video, I believe, where like it's live. I think. I don't think it's actually. It might record you also for later use, but I think you can even talk to people live that way. Because I know that's one of the things that they're throwing around at my work is that.
So there's all right. So if they're throwing that around at your work, it would probably work. Well, and you can use Skype. You can record your Skypes.
Yes.
You can record yourself talking. There's got to be other ways on the internet. Everybody get on there and start researching.
Yeah.
There's got to be ways where you can record yourself talking to the kids, connecting with them, and then send it via email to the families. You could, of course, also set up a video call. There's lots of software for video calls, and I don't want to advertise for any particular software, but you can look that up. Go on Google and look up video conference calls and see what you can find. You might have to do it in small groups if you're using free versions of the programs. To see what you can do. See, I think it's time for us to all up our technology game.
Yeah, because I'm not good at technology, and look at me. Now they're like, oh, Allison, by the way. But I think this is a good point also, is that we have to be aware that not every student has the technology at home either. So that makes it a little bit difficult. So like I don't know how to use like Google Hangout. The parent and the child might not know how to use it either. So I think it's...
And some people may not have it at all.
Some people might not have a computer at home.
Right. So then the question is, how do we still stay connected? And I think in both situations, whether you have the technology or you don't, how do we advise families about briefly homeschooling their children?
Yeah.
Because with young children, I don't want to send home worksheets and workbooks. If we don't do it in our preschool classrooms and in our early childhood classrooms, then we shouldn't be sending it home. It's not developmentally appropriate here or there.
Yeah, and I think this is a good opportunity to teach the parents this is what we do at school, and this is what's appropriate for home. If you start sending home worksheets, they might think, oh, look, that's a good way to teach when it's not an effective way to teach, you know? So like, why change what you're doing simply because it's easy to make a whole bunch of copies of worksheets just to send home in a packet? You want to show these parents what is the appropriate thing to do.
Right. So I would send home science-like experiments to do with your children.
Yes.
But I would also send home an explanation to families about what it teaches their children.
Right.
So they know what to focus on, because families can't be expected to know the objectives or standards they're teaching by doing these activities.
Right.
I would also send home fun games having to do with literacy and math.
Yeah.
For them to do with their children. And if you are able to use the technology and take video of yourself, you can talk about the things you sent home. But I think so cool would just be to say to the kids, here's what I'm doing while I'm home. What are you doing? Why don't you send me an email or a video and tell me? And we can almost create pen pals online. Remember old-fashioned pen pals?
Yes. Now, this is the idea that I'm most excited about, is that idea, because I think they will learn through that. You know, so like, this is my house and here's my dog that I talk about all day at school, and this is my world and now you're a part of it. Show me your world and let's learn from that. You know what I mean? Like, oh, look what you're eating for dinner even. Like it could be something as simple as that, and like you can learn so much from each other,
Yes.
And I'm
Yes.
most excited about that. And I think that's a good way to stay connected with them and a good way to build your relationship even further than you already have. So like at school, they know I have Rusty at home. I talk about him and there's pictures of him in high school. This is a good way for them to be like, oh, look, no, he's a real thing. You know what I mean? Like he exists and this is what he does.
Sure is.
Yeah. And this is, we all know, everybody who listens here knows Rusty's here. Okay. Like so I feel like what a great way. And like, you can even just start talking about just animals in general. Who else has an animal at their house? Like, let's see a video of how your animal moves. My animal moves this way. My animal speaks this way. My pet speaks this way. My pet eats this. What's your pet doing? Do you have a pet? Like if you don't, that's okay. But
yeah, if you don't, I was just going to say, I feel like for young children, they would just be so excited if I said to them, this is my living room.
Yeah, this is what my house looks like.
Right?
Yeah. This is what I go home to every day.
Hi, welcome to my house. Yeah. I would love for you to tell me about your house, either in an email or a video, and start to create that. We have ways to create the back and forth if everyone has the technology available. Right. I think, most people have phones they can use even. Right. You don't have to have big fancy equipment or the sort of equipment that we use for podcasting or,
That's why anything. The email pen pal thing will work because almost everybody has an email address, and can get the video on their phone. Whereas like some of the other technology, like maybe they don't have, whereas like email, pretty much I think everybody at this point has something somehow they can use, right? For that. I mean,
I would think,
I would think so. Yeah.
I also think it's kind of a cool use of apps. Like my kids use an app. I think it's called GroupMe, where they're like texting in groups, but it doesn't reveal your actual number. I could be wrong about that, but I think that's what they use.
Because that is one thing I started worrying about. I was like, okay, yeah, I don't mind Skyping with the kids, like at all. But then I'm like, do they have now all of my personal emails and stuff? Like, do they have everything? And I'm like,
not if you're using Skype. No.
But like, yeah, some of the other things, I'm like, since I'm using it from my house, are they, and I'm online at my house rather than at school, which is through the school network. I'm on, you know what I mean? So like, yeah. So like, that's kind of cool. Whatever that GroupMe. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's for texting. Cool. And I think then the whole class could talk to each other.
Right. That's cool. I like that.
I'm not sure if the Remind app does that. That's so popular in schools. It might. Okay. There are apps out there to group people so that you can chat as if you were live. Yeah. Again, we're living in such a technological time that I can see how school systems now are saying, you know what, if we do this well, we can count those days. Right. Because as I said, I teach college online.
Yeah. Well, and I think we're kind of fortunate that we can do that because I know when we had a faculty meeting last week, the principal was saying back when it was H1N1, which really was not that long ago, if you think about it.
I think innovative-wise it was.
Innovative-wise, she said it was because she goes, we didn't have this opportunity. If we were closed for 4 weeks, you would have to figure out how to make that up. So now at least we could say, hey, we're going to be closed for a week or two. We're not going to have to make that up if we do this properly. And I think we're capable of doing that now, which is great. I mean, I think we're fortunate to be able to do that. Otherwise, it'd be like having the summer off again and just starting over. I mean, that would be difficult. To come back with no connection at all would be very difficult.
It really would. And because the children will greatly struggle. I mean, think about what it's like after a long holiday break in December. This year we had where I live, I know the kids had a really long holiday break. It was 2 full weeks.
Yeah.
At least. And it was tough for them to get back into routine, for the teachers to get back into routine, for everybody to feel connected again. It was really tough. So if we can mitigate that a little bit by having plans like this for a time when you should have been in school anyway, and everybody's getting paid to be teaching if you're counting those days, then I think that this is something that people should think about. How is it feasible for you in your life with whatever you have to stay connected and to send home developmentally appropriate activities, hands-on learning, things they can easily do at home where they don't have to get a lot of stuff. I think we're going to maybe stretch some brains by saying to people, this is what you should consider doing.
Right.
I think it's kind of easy to just say, well, I'm going to photocopy some things and send home. But to send home, it's easy. But to send home really meaningful things, that's going to take a little brain work.
Right.
I also want to say this, and I've said this to Allison offline, and I said to her, I have to remember to say this in the episode. I have been going over the past week and a half or so to schools in several different states. One of the things I've noticed in common in nearly every school and classroom I've walked into is that everybody has upped their ante on cleaning. I go in, everything smells so clean. At the end of the day, I'm watching teachers dumping toys to, bleach and water them and scrub them. And they all are putting systems in place for making sure everything gets scrubbed a certain amount of things every day throughout the week so that the whole classroom is scrubbed by the end of X number of days, and then they start again. Everybody seems to be better enforcing their sick policies in regard to children and staff coming to school. And I think that everyone is upping their hand washing routine. People are making sure that children are hand washing for that 20 seconds or whatever the CDC is saying. I can tell you, just having visited schools, I'm washing hands so much more often that my skin is raw. I'm putting on moisturizer. It's not even helping.
Yes, that's so true.
So this is what I want to say about that. I think it's awesome that the response to this has been, we're going to clean better and we're going to clean more and we're going to do all that more. And my message to you all out there is, please don't stop doing that when this scare subsides.
Right.
It's how it should be all the time. I wonder, Allison, I go to the supermarket and I see shelves where soaps were emptied out. Like, weren't people using soap all along?
This is my big thing. It's like, I was always a big hand washer to begin with, because I just thought that's what you were supposed to do. Like, that's what I was taught. You wash your hands. Okay, so were people not washing their hands before? Like, I don't understand.
Are they like hoarding the soap? Also, could you all please stop hoarding the toilet paper? We all need toilet paper.
I don't understand the reason why people are hoarding toilet paper. I mean, you have always needed to use toilet paper before. Why all of a sudden do you need stockpiles of it? I don't understand. Unless you think you're going to have to self-quarantine at some point in time. Okay.
Yeah, but I maybe you will need to self-quarantine, but I feel like there's enough soap and paper goods to go around.
I think
also, I always have piles of it at home. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm alone in that. I don't
understand, like, people not buy soap before. That's bother. And then, I'm already a little, germophobic about things to begin with before coronavirus. And now I'm, going through my head, oh, my God, there was a reason for that. People weren't washing their hands after they used the bathroom. No wonder I was germophobic.
Oh, my God. All right, so here's what we want to do. We want to keep up all this cleaning after, including everybody washing their hands. Yes. Your skin should be as raw as mine. That's it.
Yes.
This has been eye-opening about people's fears and their fears about self-quarantine and products and all that stuff. It's been eye-opening. And I speak as someone who lives in the area that was vastly affected by Superstorm Sandy years ago, where we couldn't, it was weeks before we could get even gas for our cars. Yeah. It was such a thing. And I remember at that time, people panicking a bit about, how am I getting to the grocery store and stuff? I can't even get gas for my car. This was completely unexpected and literally weeks, and we survived it. We survived it. Yeah. We're going to survive this too.
Yeah.
This too shall pass, as they say.
They should. Yeah.
But in the meantime, let's work to stay connected for the kids' sake, for their social emotional development and their ability to cope with what is bound to be just a jarring thing if we suddenly have to go, that's it, we're closed. And I really do believe children know what's going on in the world around them. They may not be able to express it, but they know it. I have listened to preschoolers use the word coronavirus.
There's a boy in my class who says says it all the time. He knows all about it. He can educate you in it. But some of his family lives over in China. So I think it's been really a lot of talk around his house about it.
They're probably very concerned.
Very concerned. There. So, I mean, he talks about it all the time. And not always in like a pleasant, positive way, So like you kind of just feel, it makes you sad a little bit,
But I've also heard children with no connection to that family sort of dynamic talking about coronavirus. I have to wash my hands, Mommy said, because of coronavirus.
Right. I will say, like, I taught my kids, and I didn't even use the words coronavirus. I was just like, we're going to start washing our hands this way. Like, this is how we're going to do it. This is what we're going to do because we don't want germs. It opened up a whole lesson for like a week about germs, and it wasn't even about the coronavirus. It was just germs in general because germs in general are around all the time, so like, and now they're like expert hand washing and they'll like yell at somebody, but like, you didn't wash your hands after you blew your nose, like,
nice,
so nice. Like, yeah, like that's even to teachers. They like one of the kids said something to one of the teachers, like, you sneezed. And the like, yeah. So they're like, you have to go wash your hands. You just sneezed. Like,
nice.
They're 3 years old. Okay, but
it'll make
Allison
aware.
I feel like I'm turning them into germaphobes, and I don't want to. But I feel like maybe that's better than the alternative. I don't.
I'm gonna submit. I'm gonna submit that it isn't you and me doing that.
No,
it's the
craziness that's going on.
It's the mass amount of news and worry and concern and marginal hysteria.
Right. I feel like this is a little bit more hysteric than the other ones.
It is.
Right?
I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe we just weren't so aware.
I think Ebola was a big one.
That was big.
But again, a little freaked out over that one. Yeah.
I don't think we had all the social media and all back then. So we didn't have these ways to constantly have it in our face. We didn't have as many updates as to how many people are sick, although I heard that more people are getting sick and die from the regular flu than from this.
That is true.
And I learned one more little fact that I want to share. I had no idea that medical masks don't prevent healthy people from getting germs. They only prevent sick people from spreading germs.
Yes.
I
didn't know that until this time around either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I learned that. So there you go. Everything is a learning tool. And maybe through people listening to this podcast, sharing it, and considering what we said, they'll learn about what do I do when I need to stay connected with my students, because these have to count as school days.
Yeah.
When you're on vacation for winter break or something and it doesn't count as school days, do whatever you want. Yeah, but this is a whole other first time ball of wax.
Yeah, and you know what I would like to say, Cindy, is that maybe if other people out there have ideas that are different than what we said today, please share them with us. Go onto our Facebook page and share them because we would love to hear it.
Absolutely. You can find us on Facebook, How Preschool Teachers Do It Facebook page. You can also, if you have trouble finding that, go to our website, howpreschoolteachersdoit.com, and send us a contact form with your ideas. And Allison and I, but probably mostly Allison, will figure out how to distribute that or get it on social media or what we should do to get that information out there. Because the more good ideas, the better.
Yes.
This special episode, Allison, is running us a little long, but it is a special episode.
But it's a special one, yeah.
Yeah. I think what we'll do now is sign off and let people think about what we said and wish you all a healthy rest of March.
Keep washing your hands, peeps.
Yes. Stay healthy, preschool peeps, and make sure that you go share this episode and go to your podcast app or wherever you're listening and rate and subscribe and write us a really good review. And until next Monday, preschool peeps, take care.
Bye.